Medz, I can't believe he has the audacity to come back after everything he did.
Who exactly?
Ned Fulmer?
Oh, I thought you were about to say Ned Flanders from The Simpsons. I'm like, he's always been back. What do you mean?
No, Ned Fulmer, one of the 4 Try Guys, you know, the one that made them go horrifically viral in the worst way possible.
Wait, he's back? Wait, I thought he was canceled off the internet. What do you mean he's back?
Oh, he was canceled off the internet, but he thinks that he can just waltz right back in. You didn't hear about the new podcast that he started?
What? No, what? This guy must be an idiot.
He is a complete idiot. After everything that he did, please tell me you know everything that he did.
I have concepts of what he's done, but I'm actually pretty stupid. I have no clue what he actually did.
So you've just been going along with this.
Listen, there's been so much drama in my life and in the internet. I don't got time to keep up with everything.
But this drama made it in the newspapers. You know what? Don't worry. I have a presentation to educate you on everything that has happened with the Try Guys and Ned Fulmer.
Who the fuck reads newspapers? Why'd you bring up newspapers of all things? Who are you, Grandma?
Oh my gosh! You know, I only brought up the newspaper because, like, you know something is completely viral when the boomers know about it.
That is actually kind of true. It's honestly very true. But it's like the Facebook trickle down effect. It's like it first starts with like the TikTokers, and then it starts with YouTubers, and then it goes down to Facebook. It's like the trickle down effect of how information spreads.
Exactly. If my grandma knows about what's going on here, then you know something is completely viral in the worst way possible. And that is what Ned Fulmer did to the Try Guys. Honestly, a lot of people like heard of the Try Guys before this, but really didn't know anything about it until his big controversy 3 years ago.
Yeah, I don't know. I never really watched the Try Guys. Like, I would honestly like very randomly watch Keith eat just a bunch of food. And it's actually really funny. I think I met one of the Try Guys at like VidCon at a point. We were at a, I was there with my editor. We were at a party and I just bumped into him and I was like, I feel so bad. I don't remember his name, but I'm like, that's a familiar face. And I think he told me he's gonna be a father soon. So he was kind of nervous.
Oh, wait, that's actually so sweet.
I know, one of my friends gave him a nice little pep talk. He was so nice about it.
I think now is the time for me to educate you about them. So next time you see him, you know who he is, and at the very least, you'll remember his name.
Got it. Boom. And if you guys remember who his name is, just leave it in the comments. I'm too lazy to Google it.
You're literally going to find out, like, in 30 seconds from my presentation. But sure, everyone comment how stupid Medz is, how he lives under a rock, and how he knows nothing about pop culture.
Okay, see now, old lady. Tell me what's going on. Show me your presentation here.
This is my presentation. So we are going to have to start back pre-2022, but also a little bit into 22. This is Ned's BuzzFeed era. He starts off being one of the correspondent people for BuzzFeed, but he eventually works his way up to being an actor and a creator of one of BuzzFeed's many segments, The Try Guys. He does comedy writing, performing, but this is sort of where he makes his big break. The Try Guys consists of 4 people. Keith, who we talked about, Zach, Eugene, and
Zach.
Then obviously Ned.
It was Zach I met.
Honestly, Zach, I'm so sorry. You are the one I always forget the name of too. I feel like I want to call you Zach, but then I'm like, wait, but what if his name isn't Zach? Oh my gosh, I'm going to be so embarrassed if I get it wrong. So I'm too scared to say the name Zach.
Listen, if I saw Keith in the wild, I would feel weird if I didn't see him at least gorging on some chilies. So honestly speaking, I probably wouldn't recognize him either if I saw him in the wild.
I would only recognize him because I watched a lot of like the musical ad-lib TikToks that he does, and he's always so funny.
He's a really interesting guy. But Ned, the guy who looks like a Mormon.
Yeah, honestly, he does give very, very, very much Mormon vibes.
That last picture was a 100% Mormon vibes. Like the picture you showed him with, like go back for a second, like straight up, like looks like he walked straight out of church. You know, all he needs is the tie.
It looks like he's gone door knocking and he's like, do you want to hear about our Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ?
I wouldn't be surprised, but I mean, clearly he doesn't follow the religion if he has been so unfaithful, as you say.
Well, now we get into the wife. Ariel Fulmer married Ned in 2012. She wasn't a part of BuzzFeed, but she did like a lot of design work. She was a very creative person. She had a vintage shop. She liked doing ceramics. She just had this very artistic vision. And they have had 2 children, one in 2018 and one in 2020.
Aww. They're so cute with the BuzzFeed stickers.
Yes, they are so cute. But it is important to note that Ned and Ned's character on the Try Guys is the wife guy. He makes it very clear in all the videos that he is completely obsessed with his wife. He loves his wife. It is his entire persona, and it's what they move forward with. And you might think I'm exaggerating, but I am not.
I swear, I've heard him talk about, like, the wife stuff. Oh my gosh. What? I'm sorry, these sorry, just the clips. This is the why is it always why is he in the most revealing positions whenever he mentions his wife?
Honestly, there is way too much skin. Way too much skin. But I digress.
Man. So, someone really loves their wife. Man, I would assume that he's gonna grow old and die with her. Wow. Or maybe this just sounds like insecurity, you know? Because I've also heard he's a, you know, very strong wife enjoyer. Hey, that was me. But instead, this man, Ned, just can't keep it in his pants.
Whoa. Let's keep the story going. So, he is known ultimately as the wife guy. However, he had wandering eyes, specifically for one of his BuzzFeed colleagues, Alex, who had a show called Baby Food.
He fucked a coworker!
Yes, it is a Coldplay moment. This was Coldplay moment before Coldplay existed.
What?
And honestly, ironically, getting into the timeline, one of the first times they were exposed was at a Harry Styles concert. Not Coldplay style, but someone did record their interaction. But a lot of people didn't think too much of it because he was with other coworkers. Then on the 2nd, he is sighted again, making out with women at bars. And one of those women was supposedly Alex. And continually, proof gets posted by a user who ends up being Alex's ex-fiance on Reddit and Twitter. Once all of this starts stirring up in September, then Ned slowly stops not appearing in their videos and in their ads. And it started off with him just not showing up, but then it escalated to him being fully edited out of videos. Like, it was clear that Ned was present in a video, but the editors tried to scrub him out as much as they could.
How do you scrub out somebody who's literally one of the core 4? How's it even possible?
They did it, and they tried to scrub him out as far as possible. And a lot of the audience was calling this out. They were like, where's Ned? What's going on with Ned? Then some of the staff starts talking about it, sort of hinting at it, comparing him to like John Mulaney and Adam Levine, being like, there's something up with Ned. Not being like fully explicit about it, but sort of dropping different hints. And then by the time September 27th comes around, Try Guys makes an official announcement that Ned is no longer working with them. And they then confess to the fact that he had a consensual working relationship, as we would put it in HR terms.
Real question is, do you think he would have gotten as much flack if he just didn't say how much he fucking loved his wife?
I think he would have gotten flack, but not as much flack. And I remember this being a huge thing, was everyone was sort of crashing out because they were like, oh my gosh, if Ned, the I love my wife guy, cheated on his wife, none of us are safe. And that was sort of the big talk about it. Recently, and something that I might also talk about again at another point, the Wizard Liz had a similar situation. The wizard Liz is a YouTuber who talks a lot about being in your feminine, being like not needing a man, saving yourself for the right man. And she ended up finding a guy, getting pregnant by the guy, and right before they were about to get married, he gets exposed for cheating. And that was a similar situation where everyone looked to this person as they saw as a romance role model, which I think is the best way to put it. And they see them in a bad romantic situation, and then they sit there and they're like, oh shit, none of us are safe. If my romantic role model isn't safe, then none of us are safe. And Ned and Ariel were sort of the same dynamic where they were seen as these romantic role models. Ned was this doting, loving husband, and then all of a sudden you find out he's screwing a coworker behind her back.
First of all, I think that we must make some sort of episode on just like, I don't know, not cheating or something, you know, like we totally haven't already. Just maybe go ahead and watch that, because maybe if you are considering doing such a deed, you got to watch that other episode we talked about cheating for. But second of all, like, I'm sorry, but like, why do you guys need parasocial role models to just be a good person? Like, you don't know, like, to be fair.
Whoa,
if he,
whoa.
No, listen, I'm just, hot take. Maybe you don't need to get old doomer if the guy who says that he's the quote unquote role model for loving his wife to actually be thinking that everyone else is bad. I'm just saying it. Like, come on. Do you think PewDiePie, the beautiful husband and wife with a beautiful child, do you think he needs to say how much he loves his wife? No, you could just see just by the tenure and how much he's cared by his actions. You don't need to have someone be like, I love my wife, and be like, yes, Ned, you are such a guy who loves his wife. And then everyone is like breaking their mind because then he cheated. To me, that just sounds like, if you're constantly saying something like that, it just sounds like you're insecure about it, which probably he was.
No, that I do 100% agree with you on it, is that if someone is constantly talking about you and talking about how great you are, this, that, and everything, it's almost like they're trying to convince themselves of that. Not that anyone in the audience should take someone being passive or being insulting, but actions do speak louder than words. And if you are constantly talking about how you love someone, but not really fully expressing it, then there is a bit of a disconnect. There is a bit of an issue. Where I disagree is that I do like having romantic role models. I need people to put on my Pinterest board. And I don't know. I think as someone who has had a very troubled romantic life, I like seeing other people succeed in romance, because on a bad day, it makes me feel a little bit hopeful, a little bit jealous, but more so hopeful that it could be me one day. And on a good day, it puts me in this like spot of limerence where I'm like, I yearn for what they have.
I yearn for the mines.
I yearn. And it's like, when I'm ovulating, that shit is the best torture anyone could give me. It is like Chinese water torture can never hurt as much as yearning while you're ovulating.
Put that on a shirt. Yearning while you're ovulating. That's so funny.
Yearning while you're ovulating. I'm telling you, guys, girls may never know what it feels like to nut in a woman or nut in a person. But you know what guys will never feel? Yearning while ovulating. It is like the most masochistic thing in the world. But I digress. So everything collapses during this timeline. It is like watching the Twin Towers fall.
Oh.
And then on October 3rd, the viral video comes out where Eugene, Zach, and Keith all sit down, and our comedy buddies have never been more serious. And as I was saying earlier, this goes so completely viral, it is flooded around the internet. Mm-hmm. Of course, you get like your tea YouTubers talking about it, talking about what's going on. You have Twitter like exploding about it. But you know that this has hit complete virality when, one, SNL does a sketch about it.
Wait, what?
They did it like within the week. Yes, that is what's going on in this upper corner here. This is the SNL sketch. If you cannot tell by how different they look. Honestly, he should have played Zach. He should have played Keith. Hot take. But, and then as I said earlier, this hit so many news outlets, one of the biggest ones being the Rolling Stones, where they were talking about this whole crazy, insane incident. Everyone and their mother was talking about it.
I do remember this being a big deal, but it's funny because like I just didn't have any emotional attachment to them. So I was like, yeah, I'm just gonna like, I mean, it seems like a big deal, but I'm like, I'm just gonna let this one go under the rug. But I think it's also the reason I think it was just so mainstream is because they were part of BuzzFeed, which was a mainstream like outlet for news, quote unquote news. But they were very like attached to that. So it's kind of like they had that mainstream personality, that mainstream appeal, right? But
I think no, speak your truth. Speak your truth.
I was going to say, would you see this with Smosh? Because Smosh was also a big deal, but I don't think they were more internet focused. They've always been on the internet in that like regard. So like if Smosh, like when Smosh was shutting down, I don't think they were going to make an SNL sketch on that like at all.
Well, I think this wasn't like shutting down for normal reasons. Honestly, the Try Guys didn't even shut down, but they did make a major business move. I think it's more so that when you sort of deal with core values within society, it gets a little more viral. Like if murder happens, a lot of people talk about it. If cheating happens, a lot of people talk about it. And if weird like stuff with children happens, a lot of people talk about it. And those are like 3 of the main tenets that everyone was like, no, this is pretty bad. Like even people who are like, oh yeah, it's like whatever, like I'm fine with multiple partners, they still sit there and they're like, no, but cheating's not okay because you're lying. Or if it's like murder, it's like you're sitting there like, yeah, some people deserve to die. But when it's like an untimely murder, you're sort of sitting there like, actually, no, that sort of major sucks. Like it's not great, like it happens, but it sucks. And it's just like, this is sort of one of those core tenets where if cheating's just a big thing, no matter what. And if we see people in power cheating on their spouses, it's just pitchforks and torches. We just want to run them out of town. And I feel like he was completely gone. The only country you could get away with it is France. Yes, he went completely gone.
Which is exactly what he should have done.
Disappeared completely on the internet until 2025.
Wait, so bro I saw this thumbnail. Is that his wife?
That is his wife. Do you not notice that they look freaking exactly the same?
Why I asked it, but it's been like a few years, ever since it happened. People change.
You literally saw her picture like 10 minutes ago.
I did, okay.
This is the ADHD.
I have a terrible mental condition called attention deficit disorder, okay? Let me out of this. But yes, I've seen this thumbnail. Whatever. I just never clicked on it because I didn't really care about the drama until now.
Shut up. 17th of this year, September 17th of this year, this video dropped of Ned talking to his wife about the whole situation. I saw it immediately on my feed and I was like, what is going on? And he has started a Rock Bottom podcast. Oh, wait, actually, this one's not it. This one's it. He wasn't creative enough to come up with his own separate name.
Wait, what was the other podcast? I was like...
It's like a comedian's podcast.
Ray
I
DeVito?
was trying to do research on this, and I bumped into this podcast, and I was like, what the hell? What the hell, y'all? Like, I was like, okay. But it's also on point for Ned Fulmer to not have a creative name for his podcast. I am hypocritical by saying this, though, because for the OGs here, before we were called Doodle Heads, we were called the Hardly Working Podcast, there were a few other podcasts with that name.
Yeah.
But we did the right thing and pivoted, and I'd think if you had 3 years to plan your podcast, you would figure it out. Like, we came up with the name Hardly Working because we were like, we're hardly working.
We quote unquote
and we did that in we did that in a single night. Ned had 3 years. Ned had 3 years to make sure no one had his name. But okay, sure, whatever. But Ned has officially announced that he is taking the plunge back into media with his Rock Bottom podcast, where he is going to discuss people who have hit an extreme low point in their life and climbed their way out of it. And the first episode is about him. And this is the general summary of what they talked about. One of the first things they address is the elephant in the room. So they talk about the cheating scandal. They talk about how it affected them. More so Ariel than Ned. Ned talks a little bit about guilt, and they sort of talk about when it was like first going crazy, and I believe it was like when they were in the car and they were talking about it, and Ned was just realizing that it was going viral. He was like shifting in his chair, and Ariel's just sitting there like, "How are you doing, honey? Why are you acting so weird? Everything good?" And she admits that she was a little oblivious to what was going on. But I think that sort of just goes to show how much she cared about her husband and how much faith she had in him. And Ned sort of talks about the mindset that he had when he was cheating. He was like, "Oh, well, you know, when you make your whole career about your wife, you just get a little sick of it."
But he did that to himself. You can't even get mad about that. Like, there's so many other things you can brand yourself around. You want to know what he does?
He, like, barely blamed himself. Like, he was like, "Oh, yeah, I sort of just got pigeonholed." But he mostly blamed BuzzFeed and the Try Guys.
Wait. So let me get this right. So, first of all, is he back together with his wife?
Whoa, you are jumping ahead.
Well, I'm reading the slides.
I am building a story.
Okay, well, then I'll skip that question then, and we'll go answer that later. But the other question I was going to ask is...
Can you at least wait until I reach all 5 points before you ask these questions? You can see here.
I have attention deficit disorder. Okay, you cannot ostracize me for asking questions to Professor.
You cannot time skip this. The audience can time skip if they want. I highly don't recommend it because I am building an immersive story here.
Man, you made me wish I was a big purple alien instead of green so I could turn back time with the time stone and then fucking see the future instead. Yapaholic.
It took me a long ass time to realize that it was a Thanos reference because at first I thought you were making a Grimace reference. I was like, what does this have to do about the McDonald's mascot?
If only I could eat a Big Mac right now to take my mind off of your issues.
Wait, honestly though, a Big Mac.
Stop it, you 3 cheeseburger a day eating ass. Why don't you continue this next point so I can ask my questions to the professor at the end of the presentation?
Okay. Back to what I was saying before I was so rudely interrupted. He blames, I want to say, like, a third of the cheating on himself, a third of the cheating on, like, Try Guys, and then a third of the cheating on, like, the BuzzFeed team and audience, where they were sort of pigeonholing him into this wife role, and he felt like he couldn't openly talk about how he was struggling to connect with his wife. And then they sort of transition into talking about rebuilding. At this point, they're a little bit vague on what's going on in between, but they do talk a little bit about how they rebuilt their lives past it. More so Ariel than Ned. Ariel talks about how she started focusing more on her hobbies, how she felt alleviated, sort of backing off from the internet. She started talking about different things that she did to sort of cope with what happened. And, like, Ned was sort of like, "Yeah, I'm glad that I was off the internet, but I miss making media." Okay, Ned. Okay. Then they start touching on what they did in therapy and what they were focusing on. They mentioned that within therapy, they talked about the cheating, they talked about their struggles moving past it, but they also very much focused on, we want to co-parent. We want to co-parent. At this point, we have children. We need to focus on the children and not having their lives fall apart over this, especially because it's not just a cheating partner. It's a cheating partner that went completely viral online. Everyone knows about it, and it's just all eyes on them.
Man.
Then they speak your truth.
I was gonna say, like, when it comes to like just co-parenting over this situation, like, I feel like if you're gonna come back from rock bottom like this, like, I don't think you need to rope your wife into it. I'm gonna be or ex-wife or whatever the case is. Like, this is like, ugh.
I do get you. I do think it is a little scummy. It sort of came off like he just had Ariel on because he's like, no one on the internet will let me back unless you say that you understand what happened. So could you give me the A-OK to do this podcast, mommy? Can I do a podcast, mom? That's very much what it felt like. And I get why this was the move that he made, because I think a lot of people would have been even more mad if he just tried to walk back on like nothing happened. But I also think, and this sort of gets into the fourth point that I have here where they're talking about how they're branching out and moving forward. Ned talks a lot about how he wanted to get back into media, and like that's what he really missed about working at BuzzFeed was making media and stuff like that. And this podcast is supposed to be an outlet for him for that. I sort of sit here as someone who has worked in media. You don't need to be center stage, Ned. You can make media and not be in the spotlight. The podcast is sort of the first time that I'm ever in the spotlight. In the past, I was just like a lead graphic designer, a lead graphics operator, technical director, assistant director, head producer. Like, those were what I was doing in the background. Ned, you could participate in media and do that and not pull off this bullshit. But Ariel, our girl, is living her best life. She is talking about all the friendships that she's made, and she's made a few of them over the scandal and like people supporting her. But she's happy now that she's like making friendships that are sort of beyond that. And a big reason why she said she did the podcast was because everyone in her life is sort of like, Ariel, you're more than this. We really don't care about the cheating scandal anymore. And she's like, yeah, you're right. It's been 3 years. I shouldn't really care about it too much anymore. And she's talking about how she's back to doing ceramics and she's reopening up her little business and how she's just sort of living her best life. And we love to see that for her. And at least from what we get from Ned, I don't know. At least from what I understood from Ned, it didn't sound to me like he did any growing at all. It sounds like he is sort of completely stuck in this past. Even at one point, he sort of hints that he wishes that they could rebuild their relationship as it was. And this leads to the last and final point, which is, drumroll please, the status of their relationship.
They're back.
Ariel, take it away.
People ask me, like, do you forgive Ned for what he did? And the answer is no. Absolutely not. How can you forgive
so sad
somebody for, like, lying to you, for cheating on you? No.
Fuck no. Amen, Ariel, our queen, putting her foot down. Ned and Ariel are not together. And above all, she makes it clear that she does not forgive him for the cheating. She is like, no, you're still a dickhead for that. And slay queen, that is all I have to say. She absolutely did the right thing. And I think she's sort of doing the right thing right now, where she is putting up with Ned to sort of keep some semblance of a family intact for their children. But they are not together anymore. They're not quite divorced, but they are separated. And she has made it clear that she does not forgive Ned. And above all, and I thought it was so beautiful that this happened on the podcast, they make it very clear that they're dating other people.
Good.
And yeah.
But I was going to say, like, this, in my opinion, I'm so glad that she didn't go back, because, okay, in what world I would say it would not be as bad is if he actually fucking took accountability. From what you're telling me, if he blamed the Try Guys, if he blamed the scenario that he was in, that's just bullshit. Like, that is complete bullshit. That is complete lack of self-introspection. Like, no, it's not because of the Try Guys. It's not the pressure. It's because you thought you could go for somebody else for whatever fucking reason, whether it's insecurity. I'm 100% betting it's insecurity. Like, you did this to yourself.
Oh, sure.
Like, if you did not want to get married, then why make your entire fucking brand about your wife? You did this to yourself. But on the other hand, I did want to mention this earlier, where I also don't think him coming back is the worst thing in the world. If anything, he of all people, as scummy as what he did is, and the fact he didn't take any, like, he really did not learn much from it. There are so many worse creators out there that just come back from the worst things. Don't, like, Dr. Disrespect. I don't know if you know anything about him, but, like, he is literally legit a pedophile. He has messaged minors. And he's like acting like it never happened. His audience still loves him. And I think at the end of the day, clearly from him on his angle, his audience, if the diehard fans will probably be like, all right, as long as you know, things are okay with them and he's learning from it, whatever. But even though he's not really learning from it, like, I really would like to see him grow. Maybe somebody, like, whatever guest comes on the podcast, it'd be so funny if he gets like a really fucked up individual. Imagine like a canceled creator comes on, like we get like somebody who's like completely, like, who else is like, what celebrity's been like completely canceled off the earth? Like what? Mel Gibson?
Oh, I have a whole segment that you are gonna love, but let us complete the story.
Okay, yes, put a bow on it.
So Ariel has made it very, very clear that she's done with Ned. Besides co-parenting, she is done with Ned. And I think where she slays is she makes it very clear, like, yeah, Ned, I'm dating other people. And you could just see the collapse on his face. But that is overall what they ended up talking about on the podcast. And they then talk about, or really Ned talks about, what the podcast is going to be moving forward. Because the overall vision of the podcast is that it's not going to be focused around Ned. He's going to be the host and the interviewer, and he put this in his words, he's not interesting enough to do like a whole podcast about, which I have to say is one of my favorite clips in the whole thing. He's like, I'm not that interesting. And Ariel has like her Regina George moment where she's like, oh, you don't think you're that interesting? And she's got like the smile on his face, like, yeah, you're a boring motherfucker. Love it, slay. And then he talks about his next episode and talks about who he's going to be interviewing. And he is going to be interviewing an author named Laura Love Hardin, who is a best-selling author. She was featured on the Oprah Book Club, but a big part of her story was that she was a former heroin addict along with being a mother, and she is going to like discuss her climb out of her heroin addiction. And I think this is just a very interesting concept of this truly despicable guy having a podcast where he platforms other people who have had low moments and how they've climbed out of it. Honestly, it's not a new concept. I've seen it with so many other channels. You're nothing new, Ned. I sort of get where he's coming from, where it's relating, but I don't know. In my mindset, a person who struggled with addiction is not the same as someone who made a conscious, terrible decision that, like, he could have just not did, especially when it comes to, like, drug addictions, like morphine and heroin. Like, a doctor could fuck up and you could end up addicted.
Well,
but
yeah, I mean, I think I like the idea, though. Like, I would like to, in my mind, right? Like, I mean, I haven't watched the episode that he yapped about, but, like, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but it seems like to me that he's treating this podcast as his punishment, because it's like he's almost like, you know, putting himself in a position to be berated by the audience and also to be dunked on by his ex-wife, and then to also proceed to like try and talk to people. Like, I think the only good that would come out of this is him platforming like people that are struggling, which I think is an interesting perspective, right? To like get from other people, like, you know, like how people are struggling in their lives, or like, you know, how they got through it. That's like the only interesting angle I can see. But then him saying like, him like almost like deprecating himself and being like, I'm not interesting. And, you know, as you said before, watching his face just fully collapse when his ex-wife is just like, yeah, we're not coming back together. Like, it just seems to me that he just feels like this is the only other option for him, even though it's not.
I disagree. I don't think this is him trying to highlight other people's struggles. I think this is his way of being like, look, everyone, look at all these bad people who are doing better now. Can't I be a bad person who does better now? Like, I think it's more of a public flogging and to sort of, like, almost like drag people into hell with him. And I think it's very interesting. And it makes me think of the lineup. So we know Laura is going to be one of the first people. I don't know much about her. She seems like a very, very sweet person who just struggled a little, and I think it's sad that she's going to be dragged into this, but I am also glad that she is having an opportunity to talk about her story. But like you said, I think a lot about fellow YouTubers who have attempted to pull off similar things and had catastrophic controversies, especially YouTube. Like, it's known, this isn't the first time we've had drama that has made it in the newspaper. So I am going to present to you some of my lineup suggestions for Ned.
Oh no.
First and foremost, I suggest Cody Ko.
Cody Ko. Oh no.
Yep.
Oh no.
Because, they can both relate being overall terrible to women, consistently disrespecting them, but of course in different ways. And above all, they can relate over the strategy of just creating an entirely new channel when things don't work out.
Oh my God. That would be the most hate-watched video of all time.
Absolutely. Absolutely. But that's why I think it would be great. I think this would be a great bro moment for the two. Ned can start making new friends just like Ariel is. I think it'll be great.
You know what I will say? Like, I would like to hear what Cody has to say. Because I think, like, it's so funny because, like, he actually kind of addressed the allegations. Like, and to those who don't know, like, he basically, like, hooked up with, what was her name again? He hooked up with, like, some other creator. Tana Mojo. Yeah, but she was underage.
He is accused of he was accused of not quite hooking up. The consensualness of the situation is very, very questionable. And then, as you said, she was underage, and he sort of, like, addressed it, but also slithered around it. And, yeah.
It's so interesting. Like, I really think, like, in general, like, it's so interesting to see, like, redemption arcs for creators. Because, like, I totally think Ned could redeem himself if he just wasn't being a bitch to himself. And if, like, he wasn't, quote unquote, trying to win back his, like, glory. Like, it's like the more you mention the stink in the room, the more people, and the more you keep bringing it up, it's like, you have to let it just air out naturally, and I feel like at this point you had enough time to let it air out naturally.
He did, but my mentality is I don't think he'll survive with a career online. Like, I don't know. It's a weird area because there are people who have done it before. And I feel like there's just different ways to go about it. But I want to move on to my next suggestion.
Yes.
My next suggestion is actually a group of people. Oh, the Drama-Getting group.
This oh my God, this would go fucking feral.
I think I would entirely, not quite forgive Ned, but move past it. Like, remember, like, forget, but never forgive, if that makes sense. If he got the Drama-Getting roundtable going on, having Shane Dawson, Jeffree Star, Toddy, and James all sitting in the same room again, talking about everything that has happened, all their other controversies on top of it, and especially for the most part because they've all found new careers outside it. I believe Toddy is still making videos. James is still making videos and has gotten into several more controversies after that.
Seriously?
Jeffree Star, I think, is a farmer now.
What?
And Shane Dawson, I believe, has like a career beyond media right now.
What farmer?
Yeah, Jeffree Star is a farmer.
What they be farming? Potatoes? Like, they're what?
I think buffalo.
Buffalo? Like what? He's farming buffalo now? Like Buffalo, New York? Wait, what do you mean? Yak?
Star Yak Ranch.
Star Yak what? That is so funny. That is so insanely funny. That is the last thing you'd expect.
Oh my God,
look
that's
at that
fucking
freshly cut yak.
I think he was vegan before this too.
He went off the deep end. Like, scroll up. Like, this is like the most like most like bipolar like Instagram I've ever seen. You get random yaks, a pile of dead yak meat, and then a poster for his like tour coming up, or like some sort of like some barbecue meet and greet.
Honestly,
more like meat with an A, I guess.
Yeah, but I think this is me personally. If he did a Dramageddon episode, I would be like, all is forgiven.
Man,
my last major suggestion that I think he should definitely do. Colleen Ballinger. I think he needs a little sing-along episode, like Miss Rachel style.
I was gonna say, like, that was another one that was on my list.
These are the ones that, like, made it to the papers. I think these three would be really, really great. I think the only thing about Colleen is that she hasn't quite made it back in her career yet. Or at least not on a media level. But I think doing a sing-along episode, talking about how they piss off their PR agents and how they just keep doing a shit job at apologizing, I think it would be perfect. I think it would be, she can bring the ukulele back. We can live our best life.
Man, I think with her, like, there are some of them here that, like, I don't think they deserve to come back. Like, they do not deserve to get platformed. Unless she gives us a really good explanation as to why she fucking made an apology with a goddamn ukulele, that is all I care about. I would only care
I do want to know
to hear what is the logic behind that. You know, we should probably do like a tier list of all of like the YouTuber apologies, because I think we need to like decide like what is the worst apology, because I think hers would be up there with one of the worst apologies.
Top bottom cuck chair apology.
Yes, top bottom cuck chair apologies. Okay, you know what? We're gonna do it. If you guys want to hear us do a amazing game that Robyn made, we actually already recorded an episode of it, but I don't think it's out yet. But it's a special game that she made. So subscribe if you want to see us do an amazing, unforeseen format that you would never expect. Unless it's from us, because, you know, we are the ones that are in the top bottom cuck chair, which you will learn one day what it is. And Colleen would definitely be a cuck.
Absolutely.
She'd 100% be a cuck.
You know what? I don't know. We'd have to save it for the episode. I don't think hers is going to be cuck chair.
But yeah. Okay.
And I would like to end this off with a few honorable mentions, or not so honorable mentions. I think one that would be interesting, especially because he has frequented podcasts for sympathy, is Pirate Software, one that you are very familiar with.
No.
I think if it didn't work with Dr. K, maybe he could relate a little more to Ned.
No.
I think they could have a great discussion about being stuck in an industry that you're just bad at. Like, it'd be great. If
a fucking psychiatrist couldn't get through to him, I don't think anything will.
This isn't about getting through to him. This is just about talking about how much they suck.
Listen, if I wanted to see how two people are depressed about how much they suck, I would look at myself in the mirror, okay? I don't need to watch two dumbasses bicker about it and cry about it.
Whatever. Okay. The next one is EDP445. And I think this would be an interesting one about getting caught in the act on the internet, having like videos of you exposed online.
I'm sorry.
And you know what? Maybe they could chit chat over some cupcakes.
Those are the two most fringe people like that you could ever have Ned talk to. Like Ned, I mean, I don't know him that well, but he just seems like the good Catholic white boy. That's like his entire personality. And you're gonna get him to talk to EDP? Do you not know what EDP is known for? Not about the cupcake incident. Just like the memes he used to be known for.
I only know the cupcake incident, honestly.
There's a lot more than just that. Like, just him as an individual, like, it just is unhinged. Even Pirate Software, like, I think he would probably blow his brains out just by, like, looking at him in the vicinity. Like, these are, I mean, listen, I would still like to see it. But you know what?
I think that's the public flogging that Ned needs for forgiveness. I think this is the roadway to heaven for him. These are the 9 circles of hell that he has to go through in order to gain the internet forgiveness.
No, this is just drag him down deeper, because he's just doing like a fucking self-loathing circle jerk with all these idiots. Like, I'm sure that's what's gonna happen. I would much rather him actually have interviews with people that are really normal people that actually reformed. Maybe he can learn something from them.
I'd like to think that if he talks to the freaks, he'll realize, wait, this is actually bad that I'm able to relate to them. Oh God, am I this bad? And then he'll like role reverse. That's what I think should happen.
Just get him in a conversation with Dr. K. That would be the best option there, okay? I think it's the only other option. Free therapy from Dr. K.
I think what would be better is a podcast with the Paul brothers. And how they just talk about, if you ignore the fact that you're canceled, then it didn't really happen.
I would say that is probably one of the better options. I'll be honest, including Trisha Paytas.
Honestly, yeah.
Trisha
Paytas is the same, but I think with Trisha Paytas specifically, and what separates her from the Paul brothers, is that she sort of ignores it, but she also dumps the blame on others. And I was a big, huge fan of Frenemies, and her tactics 100% worked on me. And I think that is like the craziness of Trisha Paytas, is that her tactics 100% do work. If she just says, okay, yeah, I'm controversial, but see this person did something way worse, people will turn around and be like, wait, yeah, you did something way worse. And they'll move the pitchforks over to them.
These last three, though, I'm actually on top of. I would 100% think these are the best ones.
These definitely need to happen, especially because his own former staff compared him more so to John Mulaney and Adam Levine, because the Ethan Slater, Ariana Grande stuff didn't happen yet. But I think John Mulaney, Ethan Slater, and Adam Levine and Ned Fulmer all need to sit down and talk about how they fumbled their top tier women and why they did it. Because it's like, I think that's the thing that I will never really get about cheating. And I am someone who has been cheated on, where I sit here and it's like, as a woman, you could be the whole package. You could be a Victoria's Secret supermodel, like in Adam Levine's case. You could be a superstar boss babe, like in John Mulaney's case. You can be this amazing, supportive wife that just supports their partner through and through, like in Ethan Slater's case. And you could be like this creative, maternal, beautiful soul, like in Ned's case. And men will still cheat on you. Women will still cheat on, people will still cheat on you, no matter how much you bring to the table. And I remember this from when I got cheated on. I got cheated on with a girl who was a complete mess of a person. Like, I hate to say it, but it is genuinely what she was. I was sitting here in college, getting my degree, working several jobs, putting my nose to the grindstone, while also still attending to the person that I was at the time and trying to make time for him. And she was left behind in school, didn't care about life, sleeping with anyone and everyone. And before I knew I officially got cheated on, I was just told my partner was in love with another person. And I, ever being the rational person, was like, okay, let's make pro and con charts. Why do you like me versus why do you like her versus why you would prefer to be by yourself? Because that is always an option, people. That is always an option, to be by yourself. But when he said to me, he's like, oh, your life is so together. You're so admirable. You're someone I could look up to. You're someone I could be with long term. But when it came to her, he's like, but I don't know. I just relate to her more. And those are words that I'll never forget, especially because that person turned out to be underage. But on top of that,
so he's mentally stunted is what I'm hearing.
Exactly. And I think about that a lot when it comes to cheaters. Is it's a level of insecurity, and they want their ego stroked. They don't want to feel bad. And sometimes when you're around people who are succeeding, it does make you feel worse about yourself. And I've had friends who've gone through it, and I try to support them through it, and some sort of take that step back. And there are better ways to go about it, but usually when I see cheating, especially if it's someone who's a top tier woman, don't take it personally, because it's almost never about you. There's no need to cage yourself to make someone else feel better, because there's going to be someone who admires you rather than resenting you.
What I will also say is that I think there is room for redemption. I don't think that people are, at least should be, forced to constantly relive their bad mistakes. Because in the age we live in, everything is recorded, everything is seen. Like, for all we know, we could fuck up in one of these episodes, and then we will forever be haunted by our mistakes. But I don't think it should define you, as long as you're making earnest efforts to get better. But the problem is that I don't think Ned's making earnest effort here. I think it sounds like an act of desperation. It seems like he just doesn't know what else to do. The fact that he feels the need to come back is an issue on its own. If he wanted to come back, it should have been with the philosophy of, okay, I fucked up, but maybe I can provide a platform for other people that are fucking up, but maybe getting better and actually give them a voice. That would be a good motivation. But the fact is that he's still blaming the Try Guys. He's still blaming the people around him. He doesn't take accountability. I say, cancel his ass. Go back to the fucking depths with him. Go back to where you crawled from, you little nematode. And learn your lesson. Learn your damn lesson. If you're gonna come back to the limelight, at least come back a changed person.
Yeah, I 100% agree. And I think that was the foul taste that I had in my mouth was I watched the entire podcast episode myself so that you guys didn't have to. And the
I'm sure they did
main gist, I don't know, some people like the shorter stuff. Some people like something a little more entertaining, something a little more visually appealing.
Not morally deplorable people.
Yeah, not morally, because I think a lot of people are also not watching it because they don't want to give him views, which, respect, feel free to boycott it. But as someone who did watch it and sort of like looked at what he was doing and listening to his inflections, it very much felt like he was trying to just get away with this. Like, he was trying to, like, apologize without fully apologizing. It very much felt like his apology, or really lack thereof, amounted to, I'm sorry that I hurt everyone. And he wanted Ariel to sort of affirm, like, no, you're still good, don't worry. And Ariel, for the most, she did it, like, at times, especially because she very much pushed for the fact that she considers him a friend, which I get in a co-parenting sense, but
friend-zoned by your wife, ex-wife.
Exactly, being friend-zoned by your now ex-wife. But it's very much like I sit here and it's just like, especially like with cheating, I feel like there's only so far you can go with a redemption unless you accept the fact that, yes, I did it. Yes, I know it's wrong now, and this is what I do now to prevent it. And I have yet to hear from a cheater go through that mental process of, hey, this is what I did, this is why what I did was wrong, and here's what I'm doing to not do it again. And I think, like, in his case, this would be the mental process. Hey, I cheated on my wife behind her back with a staff member that not only affected my family, but affected my career and my friends' careers. There, you're acknowledging what you did. B, I am sorry for it. I am sorry that I have affected my wife. I am sorry that I have affected my children. I am sorry that I have destroyed my career, Alex's career, so many other people's careers over my selfish actions. There's like an actual apology there. And then moving forward, when I date, I am going to acknowledge the fact that maybe my partner should not be a part of my content, because when I did that in the past, I ended up resenting my partner for that. And I am going to focus on building a persona around something else. On top of that, I'm going to take time away from dating and understand myself more and what I need more so that I don't make my partner my whole personality again. There you go. That is all Ned had to do, was say those 3 pieces, but he obviously did not go through that work. And I say this to the people out there, if you are cheating on your partner, go through those 3 steps right now. Figure out what you did wrong, what the thing you did affected around you, and how you can stop yourself and build a system and work on yourself so that doesn't happen again.
Exactly.
And it might not be perfect. You might slip up. You might have temptations. But what matters is that you go through the mental process and you take genuine accountability.
And also ask yourself why. Why are you doing and falling into such temptation, right? You got to think about that, because
why?
The why is just as important.
So tempting?
There's always a deeper reason. And I hope that Ned is listening because I'm sure he should be taking notes by now. I'm sure the next episode is going to be him saying word for word your entire spiel, and he's going to get exactly exonerated from everything he's been doing. But I think for now, Robyn has done a great job. I learned so much about this episode in this episode. And a little announcement too. If you want to actually talk about a situation, perhaps you are cheating or you've considered cheating and are going through something, we would like to have you on the podcast. So you can actually go check the description. We have a little form now where you can submit your information and we'll try to get in contact with you so you can be on the episode. You'll get your own little character if you'd like on the show. You get to yap about your life, whatever the case is, and we will do our best to slot you in because we want to hear your beautiful, beautiful voices. Okay, we are now the new Rock Bottom podcast.
Yes, we're not that. We are not trying to replicate this as much as the poor timing of this announcement happened. We just want to connect with you guys. We did the one episode where we said if people want relationship advice, because as you can see, I'm the relationship queen. If you want relationship advice, reach out to us. And we had a few people do that. So we made this form, and it doesn't matter whether you want advice from us. It doesn't matter if you just want to vent into the void. It doesn't matter if maybe you just want to talk to us about your latest hyperfixation, or even just come on and tell us how much you love us. Just fill out the form, give us the information that you have on hand, and if we're able to, we'll squeeze you in and reach out.
Yeah, so you better do it because otherwise we will make fun of you.
Yeah, we will laugh at your face.
We will.
We plan to get every single viewer on this podcast.
Every single person will be made fun of on the podcast. That is our public flogging. We're going to basically be the financial audit Caleb Hammer guy.
Oh
we'll just start yelling at them.
I need to make a flogging set. We're going to have the Doodle Heads flogging set. The little barracks and all, your little hands sticking out. You know what?
It'll be perfect. It'll be perfect. But for now,
I'll make
so
little
much.
spanking animations.
Wow. Well, be ready to get spanked, guys. And if you guys want to watch another episode, please do, because we would love your financial support. Because right now we are doing no money. So please give us the financial support of watching our episodes.
Negative money. Please give us positive money.
Thank you.
Thank you. Goodbye.